we are having a new session which is about hacking your career puzzle by Mr. Manjunath. So I would love to introduce Mr. Manjunath. Mr. Manjunath M.S. Rao is the founder, master coach and mentor at Transformative Lab. He has 20 years of experience in IT, non-IT and education domains, has worked at tactical and leadership levels in various organizations and holds a number of industry recognized credentials like IFC Certified Career Coach, Certified Career Analyst, Scaled Agile SPC, and the list goes on. He has partnered with leading corporates and academic institutions in upskilling and transformation journey via training, coaching, mentoring, and consulting. He has trained and coached 9,000 plus people globally in various topics such as career planning, engineering, and management and leadership. So today we will be hearing on the topic hacking your career puzzle from Mr. Manjunath. So over to you, sir.
Thank you. All right, so let's get started. Since we are going to talk a lot about AI and agility, so what I thought is why don't we blend career with agility and AI. That's what the topic says, hacking career puzzle with AI and AI. You may be wondering what is this double AI is all about. So let me keep it as a little secret and maybe we'll uncover it as we move forward. All right. So this is all about our career agility. You know, how do we take the career forward and stuff like that. So before we go, we all know that AI is disrupting, technology is disrupting entire landscape of our careers, isn't it? So with so much of changes in technology, with so much change in the domain, the way we work, the way we see the life, it's entirely changing and disrupting. But the way we make career choices, the way we do career design, the way we do career planning has not changed much. Unfortunately, many of us still follow that old school of thought that, let's go with what is the biggest trend, what is happening, and just follow the crowd, follow the air kind of a model, which is good. I'm not saying it's bad, but it is leading to a lot of challenges. So I would like to take a minute. Each one of you take out maybe if your mobile or a laptop, if you have a chat GPT, ask this question: which is the best career in the new world for me? Can you do that, please? Can you open your chat GPT or any AI agent what you are using? Yeah? Can you ask this question? Because we know AI now has become more smarter than us, isn't it? It can answer all our problems, it can solve all our problems is what we typically talk about. So if you are done, what do you see there? Can maybe one of you or two of you want to talk about it? What career option is it talking about? Since many of us are in IT, probably within IT there are multiple ways, multiple options, right? Like Scrum Master or a product manager or technology or product management, sales, technology sales, whatnot. What is it saying? Have you ever asked this question to ChatGPT? Okay, what is it saying? Anybody? Oh, it's listing list of technologies for you? Okay, what about you?
In general, this is the trend.
Yeah, in general it is a trend. Okay, what about you?
It says it depends.
Yeah, it says it depends. Awesome. How about
My passions, my interests, my past experiences.
super, very well said. How about you, Nilesh?
So it's learning from me and giving
Absolutely.
me options.
Absolutely. For you, it may be talking about business development and sales because predominantly you would have, used ChatGPT for what you use on a day-to-day basis, isn't it? What about you, sir? Yeah. So essentially, what you see from the answer is that even artificial intelligence sometimes says, "Boss, enough is enough. Look inside." Probably you'll get an answer, and that's exactly going to be session about. We are going to talk about AI, using AI, which is artificial intelligence, and the second AI of the puzzle, what I call it as awareness intelligence. or intuitive intelligence from the world of neuropsychology, where I come from, or a psychology world where I come from. All right? So let me ask this, with so much of disruption happening, since we have pretty much mid-career and senior professionals here, but if we happen to have a lot of early career professionals or students here, right? If I ask this question, if you want to change your career to something different and drastically what we call career transition, right? Let me ask you this: how many in this new world, in a new economy world, what do you think? How many career options are available? Career paths are available. When I say career paths, IT could be one career path, manufacturing could be one, healthcare could be one, finance could be one, logistics supply chain could be one, sales marketing could be one. Like how many such career paths may be available for us? Any guess? Any wild guess? 3,500, that's too much. I'm talking about a path, like IT. Within IT, probably you may have some 100 or 200 such job profiles within a career path, right? Yeah, well, typically what we know is around 7 or 8 career paths, like legal, finance, and manufacturing and healthcare, right? But actually, if you look at career development research done by US as well as Skill India Mission, we have close to 175 different career paths. There are close to 3,000 different occupations, which equates to close to around 3 lakh different job profiles. And of course, since many of us come from an IT world, all those 3 lakh profiles may not be applicable for us, and we may not be wondering like, should I consider it as my career choice? But what I'm trying to say is, in the new world where a lot of disruptions is happening, many professionals are, it is making us to think, is there something else which I can explore? Is there something else where I can get into? And that's something we are going to discover it today. This is pretty much based on the research data that the future of career is very, very uncertain. If you look at many of us who started as engineers, right? Maybe we started as engineers or BCA, some technology background, and we end up doing something else than predominantly what we learned, and that is going to continue in the world of with this AI and technology. So that means we don't know what is coming out. So we have to mentally get prepared for it. So when we say we have to get mentally prepared for it, it's like we all say, oh, it should be learning, continuous learning, blah blah blah. But recently in neuropsychology, or when psychologists we deal with a lot of professionals, we talk to them, right? The burnout and what is known as learning fatigue has set in. Kitna seekhna hai, kya seekhna hai? It's never ending. Every day there is some changes are happening. Enough is enough. Have you gone to that space? A lot of burnout, a lot of stress and anxiety and all. It's quite natural because so much is the rapid changes are happening. Then what could be the solution? So of course, this kind of a disruption also brings a lot of challenges, like I talked about. Maybe would you mind just taking a minute, go to this Menti, scan this, or let me bring up. Yeah, okay. So go to menti.com and type in 17746624. So let's talk about some of the challenges. Thank you for this input. And if you see, pretty much it's a day-to-day affair for all of us, right? Especially professionals, like stagnation, no clear path, challenge in terms of work-life balance, speed of innovation, boss is always right, lack of clarity, not sure about what's going to happen. Yes. So I echo with you. So with all these challenges, typically what the trend we are seeing is, this is what happens, right? If you look at from a neuropsychology perspective, the stress is one of the leading cause of death, right? And a lot of issues in terms of people are not getting the right job, and many a times we end up doing a job which we don't like because it pays our bill. Yeah, isn't it? Can you relate to it? Yeah, my passion is something, but I'm working for 9 to 5 to fulfill my bill and so on and so forth. And interestingly, we enter the work with this, and by the time we are back, will be something else. Can you relate to this? And if you go and ask many of us, right, we say, boss, I would have not become an engineer. Rather, I would have become this, I would have become that. So when the new generation kids or somebody asks you, like, what is that I want to be, or guide me something that I can be, many of us, especially being engineers, say, don't get into engineering. Have you heard this? It's been like a standard dialogue nowadays, yeah? So nothing wrong in being an engineer, I'm not against it, but what I'm trying to say is many of us, without paying much attention to many of the factors we get into, kind of a thing. So I really like this Jim Collins says, this I liked it because as part of my master's in psychology, I did a research project called In Search of Meaningful Work to have a meaningful life. So I did a survey with some 300 professionals in India, and this is based on Dr. Michael Schneider. So finally, what is coming out by and large is especially after COVID, there is a lot of emphasis on finding something meaningful, finding some career which really fits into my personality, my interest and passion, and what we typically call ikigai, right? We're going to talk about it. And what is interesting is we thought that AI is going to solve some of these problems, but interestingly, what I wish AI should do versus what it is doing. The things I hate doing, including my wife, is cleaning, cooking, mopping, all those day-to-day stuff, right? Chopping and cleaning and food preparation and keeping the house clean and all those stuff. I was expecting that AI will do that. Whereas AI is doing something which is very creative, very interesting, analytical, where I want to use my brain, isn't it? And this was one of the recent podcasts I was listening to, and a leader was saying, oh my God, where are we heading in terms of AI? So if AI can solve my day-to-day chores and other work, I'll be more happy than having the AI this side. This is on a lighter note, but yeah. So what's happening is there's a lot of emphasis on finding a meaningful work or something called as career agility. How do we move from where we are to where we can really get into? So that is where we talk about a concept of career agility. So what do you mean by career agility? So we get started with certain role, we get started with certain, maybe a position or learning, and many of us get stuck there because of whatever reason. And the concept of career agility says that, okay, like agile project, have a vision, have a backlog, yeah, and the right time for you to take action about your career is today. What we typically usually do is when there is a problem get started, we start thinking about skilling, we start thinking about branding, we start thinking about the job search, we start thinking about networking, whereas all these strategies should be integrated as part of what we call the agile, the way we call agile way of working, right? The career agility is all about having those backlog of items in terms of what it takes to build my career, and then start taking action on an incremental basis. So having said that, if career agility is all about creating a backlog, focusing on some of the success factors of my career, I would like to hear from you, what could be those factors which contributes to solving a career puzzle? Before we go there, just wanted to share my story. When somebody asked me in my school, college days, what do you want to be? I always wanted to be a teacher, right? But what happened, like as the flow went, I was in 12th standard and we were all friends were getting together. Kya karna hai? Kuch pata nahi, chalo engineering karte hain. Let's get into engineering. The safest bet, okay? That's how we got into engineering. I had a choice between medical and engineering. I said engineering is the safe bet, chalo karte hain. And then I started working, and then I realized, oh my God, engineering is not my cup of tea. When I say engineering, not core engineering per se, the technology work, hands-on kind of a thing. And then I did my MBA, and then I realized that thanks to APGI, around I think 4 or 5 years ago, there was a session, and one of our agile coaches talked about all agile practitioners like Scrum Masters, agile coaches, all of us, right? We are nothing but psychologists. If you look at your role, if you are a Scrum Master, an agile coach, or a trainer, change agent, catalyst, what we end up doing is influencing people, in terms of change management and behaviors and nudging them and all those stuff. That was a aha moment. I said, yes, what we are doing is psychology, and that turned around my entire career journey. Right? I started doing my masters in psychology, and today, using the concept of agility, agile and agility, so I'm doing career agility coaching and mentoring for students, graduates, and professionals. So it's been an amazing journey for me. I'm part of Agile Waters team. I work with Vijay closely, and we've been doing many of this training, coaching, mentoring. So what we are talking about is, as coming back, if you see a career, right? Career is a complex puzzle to solve, isn't it? In terms of we have skill. Just if I want to give an example, like we have a skill set one side, and a lot of parameters contributes to a success in our career. And what I typically call this as a puzzle, right? If you want to really solve this career puzzle, there are multiple dimensions to it. Example could be your skill. Right? What could be the other dimensions? If you want to look at our overall career success, what could be those dimensions of a career puzzle? Let's talk about it. Again, the same code. All right. Use this same Mentimeter code. Yeah. So complex career puzzle. What dimension do you think impacts our career success? What are some of the things we should consider if you want to be a success in your career? Is it? Okay, you want scan code or the Menti scan code? Super, wonderful. Continuous learning, EQ, happiness, mental peace, storytelling. Yeah, when your heart and mind is in sync, personal branding. True. Very good. Being industry relevant, work-life balance, money, job satisfaction. Wow, absolutely. Very nice. Thank you so much for that. And you are right, it's a pretty complex puzzle in terms of, you talked about work-life balance, you talked about skills and competencies, you talked about the challenges at our career, and EQ. Somebody talked about EQ. So definitely, it's a pretty complex puzzle to solve, with so many intricate or connected threads, isn't it? So if you have to solve this complex puzzle, there should be a method to this madness, isn't it? And that's exactly what we are going to talk about it. So how do we handle this puzzle? And this is where the concept of career planning comes into picture, right? Like how we do quarterly planning, annual planning, what we also have to do is a proper career planning. So when I say career planning, there is a 3 elements which we need to look into. Who are you or who am I as an individual? So that where is that I want to go, and what is that I want different I want to be. Yeah. To answer to this, in a simple word, is where we are going to talk about application of artificial intelligence and awareness intelligence. And this concept you are pretty much aware about Ikigai, right? Everybody talks about, the whole idea of life should be to find your Ikigai, and your work should be, blah, blah, blah. But the most difficult part, this framework is known, the book is available. But if you go and ask somebody, have you found your Ikigai? They'll say, oh, not really, I'm still finding it, right? Because it's a pretty complex concept is good, but pretty complex puzzle to solve it. And most of the time, when we talk about career success, we look at from an outside angle. Where do we get the highest salary? Which career is in highest demand, which job market is really growing up, nothing wrong in it. Whereas, from a career planning and career success perspective, what we typically talk about, a mix of inside out approach and outside in approach. What do you mean to say is, the some of the factors like skills and competencies and the market drive and AI and technology is typically what we call our external environment, market changes, right? These are all external factors. Sometimes or most of the time it's beyond my control. I don't have control on those factors. But what is definitely in my control is something what we call inside out approach. So I am interested more to bring that perspective because coming from a neuropsychology angle and having done hundreds of coaching and mentoring, especially career transitions and career path discovery conversations, what I have figured it out is there are simple tools and techniques are available from the world of psychology, from the world of neuropsychology and thing, which most of the time we are not aware. This is broadly known to us, but just that we don't apply. For example, one of my mentor made me, I was going through this typical mid-career, conversation, and he made me to do an exercise called your career journey mapping. That means he asked me to write down everything, right from my first job to till what I have done, when did I join, how did I join, what was my job, what was my roles and responsibility, what was my learning, the risks, setbacks, lessons learned. Oh my God, it was a nightmare because it took me like more than 2 weeks. The moment I sat down and start writing it, but some things will come out and then again I will go back and it took me a lot of time. And then he asked me, okay, now you feed in this to your AI engine and see what patterns do you see? Because many a times as a human beings we are so biased, we don't see the patterns, we don't see a trend about myself or my own reflection. When I fed this data, it was so astonishing to see some of the patterns which I could see in my career, right? So similarly, our personality plays a very, very key role in terms of our career success. Do you agree? For example, somebody who is very, very introvert, who prefers to be on his own, her own, imagine that person is made to lead a sales or marketing team, what would happen? So they will get into something called as dual personality, right? Outside as a job, it requires me to talk to people, connect with customer, convince them and do that as part of my job, but I don't like to do it. It's a conflict, continuous conflict which is happening, right? That is where it leads to maybe stress and anxiety and all the stuff. So our personality plays a very, very key role in choosing the right careers. So there are multiple career personality tests are available, like you would have heard about MBTI, 16 personality type, DISC, Strength Finder, Enneagram. Have any one of you have done any of these tests before? Have you used it? You should do that. And many a times it's an aha moment. And when I do this test for some of my clients, it turns out that they are in IT because of whatever the reason, and they are actually meant to be doing something else. And the moment they come that I am frustrated, I am not growing, I am not getting promoted, and I'm not liking it, it's becoming difficult for me to learn, blah, blah, blah. The reason lies that you are not meant to be doing that. You are forcefully, you are trying to conquer that world. So it's not a natural talent, it's not a natural alignment to your path. So there is a lot of conflicts, right? But there is a hope. Within IT world, we have multiple career paths are available. There could be some 3 or 4 sweet spots which would fit into your personality, and that will make you very, very naturally able to progress towards kind of a thing. So that's something probably we can figure it out. And by the way, these are all free tests which is available. If you search for MBTI, you have free test available, Enneagram or Big 5, any of those stuff. Okay? And there is something called as career interest test, which is also called RIASEC model. Interestingly, this is again a free test which is widely used in other countries, right, from Europe and US. And this is done at the early age, say in high school. And based on this, they recommend students to choose either an arts or a science or a commerce stream because it determines what are you really keen interest in. And no wonder, many of those inventions or Olympic medals and all because they kind of go into that passion. Whereas in India, we tend to, we force fit people, students especially to, take this is the best kind of a path. The third one is purpose, value and motivation. This is becoming a big deal nowadays because earlier it used to be like a survival, get some job and do that. But if you talk to mid-career and senior professionals, it's no more about just a money or a position, but I want to do something meaningful. I want to do something, which gives me a kick and whatever passion we call about. There are inventories available. And by the way, this is the one Dr. Michael Stager assessment is the one where I was talking about as part of my psychology research. And we all know emotional quotient plays a major role. You already talked about in Career Puzzle. But do you know there is an assessment which is freely given by Daniel Goleman, who wrote the book Emotional Intelligence. He has given a free test available for us to know where am I standing in terms of my emotional intelligence. Many a times in careers, you would have got this feedback from your manager when you go and ask them, when can I get my promotion? Oh, you are there, but still not there, but some work has to be done. What is that some work? They are not able to express, and you are also not able to understand, right? And that's where in any career, if you see, right, there is a what part and a how part. What work do you do and how do you do in terms of passion, in terms of the emotional intelligence, in terms of personality, in terms of, the softer elements, the soft skills part of it, right? And this is where, emotional intelligence assessment will help you. Where are you not good at? For example, in my case, I will always been a people person and a very emotionally connected person. I struggled as a business leader, honest confession, because my boss used to say, you take care of your people well, you are the best mentor, coach and team manager, but business goals are not achieved. Because for me, it's always the people first. So then if I am there, it's always a conflict because it doesn't matches to my EQ levels, right? So then I chose not to have that business leader kind of a track for me. I rather choose coaching track or something, which is aligned to my personality. Similar way, the skill, we know skill is the one which pays us, right, end of the day, right? But the game is not just the skill part of it. Skills, it can be technical skills, it can be domain skills or whatever you call it. Interestingly, with lot of layoff happening and people are losing job, when these people come to me and my team for career guidance, the first question we ask them, okay, we know that you are good in certain primary skills. What are your complementary skills or secondary skills or transferable skills? Something which you can go to another industry, something where you can go to another domain and start working, if not lakhs together in terms of IT salaries, but at least something where you can get started to stabilize, to search another job. People are clueless. What are my secondary skills? What are my primary skills? What are my transferable skills? Right? And this is where knowing my, skill is not just Java or, project management skills. There is a huge list of something called a skill inventory which is available. Right? For example, Raven's Progress Matrix, there are so many of them are available. Harvard Gartner Multiple Intelligence Test, this is something we do it at a high school level and college level. And even for professionals, we do this as a psychologist to figure it out. What are you really? Interestingly, many engineers come to us and saying that I am finding hard to crack my interviews. And one of the key skill, what we call mechanical abilities, which has to be a good highest level for engineers, and they will have a lowest level of that skill. And how can you expect them to crack the interview? That's exactly what happens. So knowing that is the main thing. And we all know growth mindset and mental model, how I look at the things, that plays a very, very key role. So essentially, if you look at a career puzzle, it is not just a hard skills or an IT skills, but a combination of many of these things and what we call the sweet spot or an ikigai. Now you may be wondering, oh boss, this seems to be a big puzzle. How do we solve it? And don't worry. And this is where artificial intelligence is helping us. Thanks to artificial intelligence, what it does is, there are a lot of research has been done, and there is something called as multi-dimensional career analysis. When I say multi-dimensional career analysis, these are simple psychometric tests which looks at your personality, your interest, your motivation, your skills, your competencies, and many of those dimensions what we talked about. And it kind of, profiles you holistically. Super. It kind of profiles you holistically in terms of what are you good at, what are your skills, kind of competencies. And what we do, many of us as a career coaches, is the first round of conversation, we make people to do this self-reflection. What is your personality? What is your interest, motivation, and blah, 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 what we talked about. And many a times, what we call a blind spot, we don't know what we don't know, right? And we get stuck there, and that is where we advise them to take this multidimensional career analysis test, where it will kind of gives an unbiased view or an unbiased opinion about, who are you really, what are your key skills, and it matches to a lot of industry available data and persona, and from there it gives a kind of an insight which will help you to do. It could be starting a new career, can be a career transition, it could be starting something in your own business, it can be a lateral movement, IJP, there are multiple cases. In fact, currently we are working with multiple organizations in terms of hiring the right talent. Because what happens in the interview, many a times we fake. It's being honest, being human being. Because I need a job. Have you done this? Oh yeah, I have done this, blah, 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 blah. But I would have not done that. I'm just, saying that, yeah, I can do it. What a big deal. I can learn it, right? So the what part of the thing we can always fake it, but the how part of is makes a huge difference. When we say, right, rubber meet the road, you hire a person, is very skillful, but the moment person joins your team, you know that, oh my God, not meeting the needs, not fitting into the culture, and not meeting the how part of the work, and blah, blah, blah. So this is where we are helping many leaders and organizations also to do an independent, unbiased insight, whether to hire a person, whether to promote a person, whether to move them to a different career ladder, and blah, blah, blah. So this is a powerful usage of AI. And why I say AI? Okay, even before I go, why did I bring in awareness intelligence or neuroscience? Is because while AI is doing a technology from a model perspective, a lot of these things what we talked about, your interest, your passion, your motivation, your personality, has to come from inside, right? AI will not be able to answer many of those questions. We need to do that. There's a lot of wisdom or insight which is available to us, which we need to tap into, what we call, the intuitive intelligence. When we combine that along with the AI is where we'll be able to solve the career puzzle, right? So what we have been doing in Agile Waters is, while we are building our own model for this multidimensional career analysis, we have been doing certain experimentation with college students and organizations. We also have a tie-up with one of the leading organization in terms of who have designed this artificial intelligence based career analysis and report, and we use it for career coaching for right from high school students to professionals. This kind of an analysis can be used. Essentially what it does is it looks at your skills and competencies, it looks at your skills and persona, who you are, uniqueness, it looks at your interests, it looks at multiple dimensions, and based on this we also recommend some of the skill gap. If there are certain skill gaps are there, how do you take care of it and stuff like that. So essentially we are using AI algorithm for each of those career paths. For example, engineering, right? There are multiple rules have been written to see whether a person based on certain all these parameters what we talked about in the career puzzle, whether that person really is it suitable for an engineering kind of a job role or maybe something else. Yeah. So why I'm sharing this is when I did my assessment, it clearly showed me that I am meant to be more like a counselor or a coach, right? And that's where I took entire career transition to career coaching, right? So essentially, yeah, it basically runs multiple artificial intelligence rules, and we have been involved with neuroscientists as well as technical guys to do this. It looks into multiple parameters, as I said, your EQ, IQ, and skill mapping, and many of those stuff. And this organization, because of their work, they have also got recognized from a Indian startup, and they have been representing India in terms of social impact project, been working with a lot of students, especially in rural areas. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So my key message is that the career puzzle as it looks, of course it's a big puzzle, but it can be solved, and it's not an overnight thing. You know, it's seriously takes a couple of months for us. Look at multiple dimensions as I talked about, right, from your personality and interest and skills and all those stuff. And we don't have to solve all pieces of puzzle in a one go. That's where the career agility, what we talk about, incremental approach in terms of knowing yourself and fine-tuning yourself, and over a period of time, you know, the success factor, like many of you talked about, it could be building your own brand, building your own community, joining some communities and all those stuff. So that can be done over a period of time. Yeah, it's worth it, because what I feel is, end of the day, you know, if you're not really enjoying what I'm doing, because if you look at our entire life, 1/3 of our life we spend in careers, isn't it? The first 20 years goes in studies and happy moment. The next 30 years is where we spend in career. It can be a business or job or whatever. And the last 20, 30 years is where we want to relax and enjoy and cherish those first 2 parts of the life. And if this part of career, if this is not really fitting in, not really meaningful, then we are missing a most part of our life. And that's where we're talking about career design, right? Discover your career and design your career, not just a money part of it, not just a technology part of it, but it's a deeper subject. I would recommend a book called Pathfinder by Nicholas Lohr. It's a very interesting book with a lot of insights, what I talked about. And if you need any further help or any conversations, I'm happy to do that. And this is something through Agile Waters, we've been going to a lot of colleges. We've been helping them to make those better career decisions. And as I said, even for professionals, you know, because there's a saying, right? You can get certified, but that may not help. Just certification may not help. So recently there was a person who wanted to invest some 3 lakhs in doing an AI certification. He approached me. I said, what is your problem you are trying to solve? So he is in a domain where he is basically into product marketing, right? And he wanted to join AI course from some XYZ organization, XYZ college, where they are teaching all, you know, how do you build LLM, how do you use Python, all those stuff. So I asked, how is it going to help you? Because for your role, it's what you need is how do you apply an AI tools for your job or your role, right? Many a times what happens, these colleges and training companies, they want to sell their program without understanding your profile. And that's where we need to understand ourselves before, you know, what is that I want to do in the space of AI, whether I am into building an AI model or how do I use AI tools to help my career to move on. So with that, I'd like to thank you for being here. I know this is a last minute surprise, but still you all made it. Maybe what we can do is we can take up this key learning towards the end. So if you want to give a try about this career, multidimensional career assessment, what I'm talking about, you can scan this code and take. There is an option called a professional. If you want to try for a professional, you can try it out. By default, test is free and you get a 2-page. But if you need more detailed presentation and you need more detailed guidance, you can always reach out to us in Agile Waters team, and we'll be happy to do. As part of overall Agile Waters offering, we do career coaching, mentoring, and guidance sessions. So we use some of these tools and techniques to, you know, move up in that particular direction. Yeah, how much time do you have? Then 5 minutes, okay. Yeah, so yes, let's do that, and maybe I will keep this scan code open. Meanwhile, you can you know, share your key learnings from this session, and then we'll go for the last slide, which is the feedback slide. Yes, ma'am, please.
So with career paths, you know, being so drastically changing every few years, right?
Yeah.
So we had Agile, a lot of boom,
Yeah.
you know, in last probably 6 to
years.
10 years back.
Yeah.
Then cloud, then data, then Gen AI. It's like moving with
Yeah.
a lot of pace, right?
Yeah.
Now the question is, and this is very personal, you know, a kid who wants to choose career paths,
Yeah.
For us, it's very easy, right? And unfortunately, you don't need to, or fortunately, you don't need to choose between 100 things.
Yeah.
You know you want to go between probably an engineering or
Yeah.
a medical. It's an
Yeah.
easy choice,
Easy
like
choice
Mark
for-
Zuckerberg's
absolutely.
T-shirts, right? So you don't need to think so much.
Yeah.
There are various pros and cons, and what most importantly plays a role there is, proven paths, security, safety, and how the policies have transformed that particular industry,
True.
for people to survive and sustain.
True.
Right? All these things also matter.
Absolutely.
Right?
External
Now,
factors.
a plain white sheet which doesn't have anything, any passion, but good in STEM, right? What would you suggest, the path to be, right? Because what I'm getting to is whatever we learn for 4 years or 6 years will not matter after 10 years. Second thing is the person themselves will change
Yeah.
every few years.
True.
Right now,
Yeah.
based on all the analysis and learnings and the research you've done, what is your suggestion for young kids, because they naturally close their eyes and go into JEE trainings or probably a medical training, right? Because all these assessments, they tell you some stuff, but they don't actually point to anything that they need to take. Because if you're passionate, it's very easy actually. If somebody is passionate about medicine, then they can go into it and build a path.
Yes.
But somebody who is not passionate about anything and still figuring out, unfortunately in India we don't give that time.
Yeah.
Like in US or other countries.
true.
We don't let them experiment. And the other aspect is with lot of us who are mid aged, and we want to ensure the kids are settled before we retire, right? So we don't give them the time to actually experiment. And so what is your advice?
So when we work with students, so instead of talking about 175 career paths, which is like an open-ended field, after doing this multidimensional test, it kind of funnels it down to say around 7 or 8, right? That may be an easier choice rather than looking at all 175. Now within that 7 or 8 is where a lot of conversation, like as you said, a lot of external factors, a lot of passion and interest and family conditions. For example, somebody wants to get into a mining. Somebody is very passionate about mining. And by and large, if you get into a mining kind of an engineering, the jobs are somewhere down north, somewhere in that corner where definitely I'm not comfortable sending my kid. So then that option is ruled out. It's more of an elimination. It helps you in better elimination. And similarly in the medical, right? Medical now has become so much expensive to afford it. But there are parallel streams are available for, somebody who want to really serve society or make a difference to healthcare. There are alternates are available. So that is where as a career counselors or a career coaches, we end up blending that, bringing those differential parameters, and we have created something called as a career library, which is freely accessible. If you go to that site, you have a stream-wise career library, we have job group-wise career libraries are available, the same link where I shared. So if you are in an art stream or a science stream, these are the possibilities kind of a thing. So we help basically to narrow down kind of to a certain area, and then as you rightly said, many of us, we evolve over a period of time, this interest may change, but it does reduce that possibility of going into a totally an off track than being on track. That's how. Absolutely, engineering is still relevant, but what we typically look at is when we do a profiling, right, certain parameters we look at to be an engineer. And if those parameters are meeting, we say that go ahead and do it because you will be able to. Because the most career counseling we get nowadays, career coaching, we get it all those engineers who didn't get placed or who are struggling to get into the industry. And when you do the profiling, they are meant to be doing like maybe a sales or marketing or something else, which is, by the way, the largest industry. Sales marketing is the highest thing, but just that we have polished our mind, young minds, oh, don't get in there kind of a, thing. So
we lack in entrepreneurship a lot,
right?
Right? We are all kind of traditionally going in that path,
right?
But there is no, industry that caters to creating entrepreneurs right at age of 18, because you can start any time if you want, right?
Right?
Have you seen anything which focuses on this? Given basic education, you still want to Because that's a huge area of, especially with our GDP growth, all of that, right?
So what is interesting is right from UGC, AICTE or any education institute, maybe technical or non-technical, they have made this entrepreneurship as a compulsory subject or not as a subject but as a focus area. Even you go to a BA, BSc, BCom kind of a graduate colleges, they are expected to bring in industry experts and expose kids towards these entrepreneurship as part of Skill India mission, right? So that way I see that with the new NEP policy coming in, there are a lot of emphasis going on those and building that entrepreneurship mindset, but it's a matter of time, right? It's going to settle in. But I go to a lot of colleges and we do those typically in product management, what we teach in Agile, right? Cash to concept, concept to cash, end-to-end value stream, product management concept. So we try to simplify that concept to even graduates, BA, BSc, BCom kind of a graduate, because engineering by natural, they'll see those end-to-end flow, but other graduation also we are trying to inculcate that, but it's a matter of time, but it's picking up. Good. So if you like this session, please go ahead and give your insights and inputs, and very happy to take this and help you forward. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and all the best for your career agility journey.
So thank you so much, sir. And I think this is the most relatable session for all of us today, because I think with each performance review, we go back and think what is our next career level. And I think during this month of March and April, many of us would have already got our performance reviews and few will be getting in April.
True.
So I'm sure many of us will be contacting you after this session to solve their career puzzle. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I request Navneet to please felicitate Manju, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Take care.